Hello, everybody. It's me, ReaperSteve, and I'm joined by the ever wonderful Jammer. How are you doing, Jammer?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad at all. I'm just going to quickly transition in and out very quickly because for some reason the CS:GO logo was completely blocking the @ symbol on your name, but I fixed it now, so it's all good. I'm good, mate. Not bad. It's been a good day and a bit off, more or less. Really, just chilling. Reaching out, touching out to people, getting in touch with relevant parties and all that kind of stuff, trying to set things in motion, world
Uh-huh.
domination and all that kind of stuff.
All right,
But yeah,
professional.
it's been no, well, sort of professional, isn't it? In fairness, Cody95, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime sub. We do appreciate it massively. Won't normally get a commentator thanking someone for a Prime subscription or just a sub in general because we tend to focus on the gameplay. But while we're sitting here chilling out, waiting for the players to be ready, we might as well point it out, right? Um,
Yeah.
why not? If you
Sorry,
have
I just
more, if
I
more
just
people,
derailed you.
I was like, yeah, no, he's right. Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. Anyway, so let's talk about the game. What we're here for. I think that's probably the best part to begin with. First and
Yeah.
foremost, to those in chat who've already pointed out the obvious. Yes, I know. I was scrambling through my notes on the previous game, and I couldn't get the pronunciations. You'll have to forgive me. I've worked like two broadcasts in between with other teams, and we did grand finals together. We've done all these other bits and pieces, and my notes are all over the place because I've just transferred over to a new tablet. Blame Jammer. That's probably the better way of putting it.
Yep, yep.
So I was scrambling, hence why there were some mispronunciations. But it is what it is. It happens. I have them now on my screen in front of me, Jammer,
I
and
mean,
I'm gonna work. We're gonna work through this together. You know what I mean?
if players don't provide their pronunciations, is it really on us?
They did. They provided them to me a while back, and
Oh,
I
did they?
misplaced them. Yeah, they were in my notes. That's why for the last season and the better part of the start of this season, I didn't get them wrong
Oh
once because they
no.
were literally right in front of me. And then obviously I've switched now to this new tablet. I don't have any of
Okay.
my old stuff on there, and I didn't have the names. So John kindly sent me the names again and the pronunciation. So I have them pinned in our chat just in case I lose them again. But I also have them now on my
Fair enough.
screen. So yeah,
Okay.
tail of the tip.
Was this just
This
a DM to you?
there was a DM to me, yeah, because he was just
Oh,
like,
okay.
"Hey, there's some issues with the pronunciation on the last commentary, just to make you aware." I was like, "Oh my god, I know, I'm sorry, I really am." Anyway, tail of the tape, Jammer. Before we jump into gameplay, because we're getting actually pretty close to doing it at the minute. There's a full stack of
Yep.
players in server. We are going to be watching Esports Wales Yar versus HoldThisWood. An interesting name for a team, but it is what it is. Their clan tag on ESEA is TikTok, which is yes. Anyway, I'm addicted to TikTok. Both teams have played Inferno once before, or twice before, I should say. Won once, lost once. It's actually the same on either side. Conveniently for us, we don't have to go into too much detail.
Nice.
Both teams are 3-4 in ESEA Open.
Uh-huh.
So exactly the same scores as each other in the sense of how many wins, how many losses. The main difference, however, is the factors that are built up within those wins and losses. And we kind of, like you and I had a brief chat before we start stream, obviously, while we're waiting for players to jump into server. There's a couple of grey areas, I think is probably the better way of putting it, with this side, coming from HoldThisWood. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in total in their team roster on ESEA. So we don't know who's doing what and who's where and whatever. We can only draw from our previous games, but they're all different anyway. So we're kind of at a loss as to which way we're going to work it. But
I'm
um,
assuming they rotate in different players to hold the wood each time, right?
yeah, exactly. I mean, like Hodor and all that Game of Thrones references. Um, one of their main sort of players that I highlighted, and I think we both kind of agreed that we need to look out for is Tobin. He's only 96 games played, but 88.5
Rounds.
ADR. Sorry, 95 rounds played, 88.5 ADR. Thank you for
I don't
correcting me
think he's
there.
in the server though.
He isn't, thankfully. Yeah, I'm just looking at the server list now. We've got Lewis, Houthus, Brucey, Zach,
I
MP4, and Brucey. I've said that already, haven't I? Cause
wait.
was the other one.
I don't recognize Hathis. Is he on the team sheet?
Neither
Is
do
he
I.
Herbie, maybe?
Maybe we'll chuck it straight into gameplay, so we can talk while the knife round's going on. You guys, I'm going to sit there doing nothing. Yes,
I'll
Esports Will
investigate.
said, by the way, in chat, will be referred as player 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from now on. Exactly that. Um, you know, I don't have him on my list either. He must be Herbie, right? Like with a different name.
I will investigate. You take over for
Yeah, yeah,
Herbie.
yeah, yeah. As far as starting is concerned, though, Esports Wheels are on CT. There you go. The HUD will switch eventually. And we jump straight into pistol round with, well, a restart, sorry, into pistol round. There we go. We'll start off as we mean to go on. I'm going to run you through the player list, by the way, chat, just so we're all on the same page. We have Zyrex, we have Cody, we have Tree60, we have Potatoes, and we also have Stater. Can someone clip that and send it to the team if possible? Because that would be much appreciated. Jumping straight into the mix though, Cody's picked up a set of dualies, which I'm kind of. I'm liking it now that the money's reduced on it, but I'm concerned about it as well also for the accuracy. The accuracy factor does kick into effect, and Cody drops immediately, and it's just straight on the offensive as far as HoldThisWood's concerned. Cos and Zach MP4 they're picking up kills. Oh, Zyrex will actually chime back in. Brucey there getting dropped immediately. Halfless is with Zyrex though, and Zyrex has got no choice but to really concede that little bit of an advanced position, wait for his additional teammates to pop up.
The retake is still alive though, because they have church control, and all 3 CT players are going to push through, but the trade's coming out, and it's just Stater left. 2 kills to his name, 2 more to find, and the dualies are still up, Nick.
They are. Okay. I'm glad the dualies didn't get it, but I'm also sad they didn't get it as well. So my perspective on it with this, okay, I like the fact that they are getting used because of the price reduction. Yes, you can buy then a frag as well on top. You know, it gives you a few more options to really roll into the mix of first round. But I feel the benefits are far outweighed by the cons. You know, I don't think there's enough to it. It depends where you place them as well. I mean, if you're on A side hold and you're holding apartments and you get a push, banger, that's exactly where you want to put them, right? If you're on banana, maybe not so much. Speaking of banana or jammer, this would have making their way up it already.
They are indeed.
I'm on fire tonight, mate. Yeah. I'm ready to go. Yeah. I'm ready to rock.
Well, it seems like HoldThisWood are also ready to rock, because they've thrown a little bit of utility out, and that has prompted a little bit of counter utility out from this ER side. They're flashing through, and oh, Cody's pushed through. He's got 1. Dink's second. That's really good damage, and that's a 1-for-1 trade. A lot of info passed on. 2 more players over towards B, and that's prompting a little bit more spam. Oh, that's lethal. Stater coming in through the back lines, and suddenly the door has closed behind HoldThisWood. They are just trapped in banana now.
They've got options still, though. I mean, with bomb control, they can rotate backwards. You know, Tree's like the kind of anchor man at the minute. He's having to figure out, right, am I rotating back into B? Should I stay towards A? Those footsteps should start sending backwards now, because I think you can still hear them from there. They'll come up through archway. He gets tagged a little bit by that AK. He doesn't get a shotgun off, but I mean, that could have been quite nice, actually, if he got the shotgun in play, right?
Yeah, it could have been, but the bomb goes down and things start to return to normality. But it's a 4 versus 3 retake on the A site, and the health advantage does fall towards the R. No, well, not too much armor. Oh, okay, it doesn't matter if you have armor. Status hitting shots. Cos gets taken out. Zyrex spammed down. Lewis has low bullets, but there is only 2 more players to find, and his teammate might be able to help out. The shotgun comes in, and that's going to be Potatoes, I'm going to say that right, to close out. And there we go. They can upgrade the rifles as well. That's an incredible round to win.
And you said this before, and I'm going to repeat what you normally say at this point. That's more dangerous than losing pistol.
Yes.
That second round push, I mean, that's an AK and Galil recovered into the hands of CTs. That's weapons you don't want to drop in the first place. But the sheer fact that they pushed up banana, got held off, then pulled all the way back, and they just, it was almost like they gave Yar enough room to wrap around themselves. We're not going to dig too deep into the analysis, though. It is only round 3, of course, Jammer. Very early days for me to start digging a bit deeper into the story between the lines. But definitely a dangerous moment for HoldThisWood, and a moment that Yar can really build off.
Yeah, I mean, just look at what we've got going into this, for all intents and purposes, gun round. You know, there's
Mm.
3 Galils and 2 Deagles, a lack of utility from this HoldThisWood T side. And on the other side of things, you've got pretty much all the bells and whistles you could want. So Eric's, he's going to go fishing for some more. Flash through. Oh, he's anti-flash, but gets one and he's traded out straight away. That's not ideal, but it does give a bit of info. However, with there's so much time on the clock, that's not going to be info that's going to be key. Cody playing with fire, dancing on the line of the smoke, but gets away with his life, and they try and boost up towards the back of the site. Tree will spot one out towards A, and that should halt the rotation. So HoldThisWood, they're primed to execute towards B, but they seem to be reconsidering.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused by this reconsideration. I mean, you've just lost your anchor point on A. Yeah,
Lurk,
there's
if you will.
the lurk. Sorry, not anchor. What am I on about? You just lost your lurk on A, and Tree's not backing off from that position as well. Also, he doesn't need to. Realistically speaking, he can sit there and wait, get as much information as possible, and then call the ball as far as bringing potatoes and Cody across. But at the moment, nothing really moving as far as CT is concerned. Oh, that flash! Well, they didn't even need movement.
Okay.
Status there to help out, and Tree's also just going to chime in right at the end. That was very close though to being a dead Tree, right?
Mr. Tree, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, seems like their axe wasn't sharp on HoldThisWood, and they can't fell Tree in this occasion. But they're going to be knocked back onto an eco now, and that's a really must-win round and a must-win situation in VR, because they've set themselves up for success now. They can start to build up some cash. They can start to build up some confidence, and that's, I think, a little bit more important than the cash for this ER squad. They've perhaps stuttered on those low confidence situations. So if they can build up a head of steam here, it's gonna buy them a kind of winning formula. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure
mean,
whether. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was gonna say I'm not sure where the 5th player is, but they've double stacked up short, and this is actually a really strong setup. Even if they smoke short and run up long, there's a player boosted that can obviously look over and pass that info along. So I really like this setup, and it's gonna be giving them so many rewards. There's the trades in middle. Only one player falling from ER so far. Stata trying to be hot on the swivel. Looks back towards Pit and spots out the last player. Tries to clean up. And it will be awkward. Zach's trying to stay alive, but if he gets anything done with this Glock, I'll be surprised. There's a Glock dink, if you will, and the nade will finish things off. So nice and clean in the end, but yeah, nice setup in overall, I think.
Yeah, Cody's in a really good position there. I mean, we've seen that play out time and time again, right? Where you have a really dangerous player in that sort of position. The trigger discipline alone is worth writing home about. Didn't immediately pull the trigger as soon as player came out from door. Kind of let them move into that little bit more of an open space to work with, and give them more than ample opportunity to take on 2 players. Zyrex again is just. As I'm about to say, sing his graces, he gets dinged right in the top of the head. I was about to say he's just a man apart at the minute, and he seems to be rotating into dangerous positions that really need him. Whoever HoldThis is, he's lucky to walk away there.
He is the unknown man on the server right now, but I think one of the things that we can talk about while it slows down is Cody G. In ER's past games on Inferno, he has been somewhat of a win condition. When he's not performing well, when he's not feeling it, he can really be the determining factor between a win and a loss on this map. While I say that, though, it will be a feigned B execute coming out from HoldThisWood, and it will cause a rotation from Tree, but they are delaying things slightly. Perhaps the counter utility from ER can come through, but they are going to be delayed in their rotation because they only have limited information so far. And there we go. You get the call starting to come through. Tree, in fact, is going to be the one to hold the defense. Potato's taken out early, and he's going to do it all. Tree with a triple K on the B site to close things down and bring things to a 4th.
Yeah, he's just feeding into that ADR, right? I mean, he's 102 at the minute prior to this game kicking off. And Tree is just really loving his CS at the minute, and I'm frankly loving it as well also. More of this, please, from Tree. Zyrex has also been playing extremely well with those pop flashes. Getting in that early damage. Really playing into the long game as far as Yar's concerned.
Yeah, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Tree AWPing last season?
He was.
Yeah. So
yes, I remember him. Yeah, I think he was actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the main AWPer, and so one of the things that can be concerning for players that are, perhaps leaving the AWP behind is that, maybe they're falling into a particular mindset or a play style that, perhaps is going to be disadvantageous when you move to the rifles. But Tree has really, been a counterintuitive player in that regard, because he's just kind of took the rifles and ran with it. He is absolutely fragging, and I'm surprised, how well he's doing, consider he was a main AWP and he was doing decently well with the AWP as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the versatility at the minute is outstanding. Um, Stato, we should probably mention as well, is well, helping up with coaching as well, as far as I'm aware, and still is fragging out nonetheless. Probably due to the multitude of mice that he has. I know today he was mentioning he put a bid in a house as well. Um, so he's probably having to find somewhere bigger to store all the different all the different
My
mice, keyboards,
yeah.
and everything else that he probably has stocked up. Wouldn't be surprised if he has like a little mini warehouse in his house. See, I've been asking you about mice. Actually, while we're on the subject, we may as well talk about this. Yeah, John in chat, he's got a mice room. Literal. We've lost 2 players from and 1 from HoldThisWood, so bear with us. We'll figure out what's going on.
Oh, they're dropping like flies, Nick.
They are dropping like fries, I was going to say. Like flies.
Fries.
Yeah.
Something on the mind?
Yeah, I'm on diet and tomorrow's cheat day. So today's like my fasting kind of day.
Yeah.
Which is great, mate, to be completely honest with you. Friday night, all I want to do is just order like a kebab or have some sort of like fast food takeaway, but it's just not happening this evening. I'll have to wait until tomorrow. Anyway, stop changing the subject. We were talking about mice, and
Yes.
I'm in the market now, obviously, for a new one, because I have a Extrafy M4.
Yes.
Really like the mouse, don't get me wrong, but I've had a lot of issues with it as of late, and everything else I have is wireless except my keyboard. But I've got a ducky, so I wouldn't want to go. I wouldn't want to go wireless with the keyboard anyway. And I'm just like, I want to get a new mouse. Asked you for some suggestions. I'm open to more. I'll put a tweet out after. People can link me what they would recommend. See if it competes with Jammer's recommendations as well.
See, okay, John, I am on the same page with you, man. What grip style do you have? Every single time someone comes to me with a mouse recommendation, I'm like, what's your hand size and what's your grip style? And people just laugh at me, and I'm just like, well, it's important, but no one ever takes that seriously. So
I am a claw grip.
Claw. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You can probably go for a smaller size mouse then.
Really? Yeah, actually.
I mean, it's easier to claw a smaller mouse if you think about it logically.
Yeah, true. I say I'm claw. I mean, like, I go between palm and claw, depending on what I'm doing. Like, if I'm browsing the internet, then I'm palm. Like, I don't need to have a claw grip to go on Google, you know what I mean, and look for whatever I'm looking for. But if I'm playing, like, I'm going to say something sacrilegious right now in the CS community. I know this already, but I've been playing a lot of COD Vanguard just because I like zombies. I've always liked zombie mode. You can never change my mind. It is what it is. Like, I will buy it because I'm a glutton for punishment as well. I will use claw grip while I'm playing games like that.
I'm going to say something to you as a coach, and from my experience, if you can find a grip style that you can like comfortably stay with for all of your PC needs, then your aim will be more consistent and probably have a higher peak overall. So if you can sit or find an adjustment to your claw grip so that you can use it whenever you're using the PC, no matter what, then I would heavily recommend that in terms of aiming better. I know perhaps you're not looking to be a pro at this stage, but like
I'm
all those
far
people
past that in my life.
Coach Jammer recommends, staying with one grip style that's comfortable and that you can stay with for long. Because if you're using a grip style for aiming right now and it's causing you pain after a couple of games, then that's just not something that's going to be sustainable in the long run. And if you ever do get to the pro stage, you might end up you might have seen Tess's actually. He's got tendonitis tape on his wrist all the time
Yes, yeah.
because his grip style is so unorthodox and causing a lot of pain in his tendons. So find something that's comfortable with you all. Find something that you can use all the time, 100% of the time, and then try and work that into your muscle memory, and you should have more consistent and higher peaking aim overall.
Do you know what okay, so on my travels on the internet trying to find a mouse, or mice, or mouse, whichever way you want to look at it, I found a product that I never knew it existed, but also makes complete sense that it exists. And it's mouse tape. So it's like grip tape for your mouse. I had no idea this thing existed. And I was just Googling and like found mouse tape from, I think it was Razer that make it. It's like anti-slip mouse grip and like little plastic baubles. John's got a question for you. What angle degrees is your keyboard?
I will answer that after this round because
let's watch this game actually. Yeah.
Interesting round. They're rushing Banana with the pistols. HoldThisWood are, in fact, and Cody G's going to be the one to meet them, but he doesn't actually get any of the kills. It's Zyrex to pick up 3, 2 more to find, and he's running low on bullets, but he gets another. Oh, with the last 3 bullets, that's a 4K, almost on for the ace, and we'll see if ER give him it, because the last player, Hathus, the unknown man, the ghost in the server, is lurking in the smoke, and he's got Cody G. The AWP has been taken out. There's more on the table. He's trying to spam around the corner, pre-fire, but it doesn't connect, and that's the ace. Zyrex bringing things to a close for a 5th for ER, and that was definitely worth interrupting that keyboard.
It was, definitely. Even his teammates were trying to stop him from getting the ace. That's crazy, that was. A little bit of slap damage coming in from the rear, but yeah, I mean, that is not the nicest of rounds to HoldThisWood, but I think a round they just wanted to get over and done with. They could have really done a lot of damage in that round as well, converting some of the deagles. You know, they picked up 1 frag onto Cody. Not great, not worst. You know, but at the same time, you know, spam pushing into B from Banana with pistols. It's only going to end 1 or 2 ways if you've got a good player. Oh, HoldThis.
Well, that's a that's a 1-for-1 trade, but it's one that you'll actually really be happy to get, because you lose a player in middle, you don't don't give up any info, and then based on the pick that you get, you gain a lot. But Hathus goes fishing for something extra, and Cody will slap him down. There is no bait on your string for him tonight. Zyrex even spots out the AWP towards bottom Banana, so a lot of info passed, and Potatoes, sorry, is closing down the cheeky smoke push. 2 versus 4 on the cards, and now it kind of seemed like there was an opening for HoldThisWood, but they just didn't take advantage of it, right? And it's all fallen apart. But there's only 1 player on the B site holding off this Banana push. The rotation should be coming through. Potatoes will be the one coming through with that, but Zyrex needs to try and hold off for as long as he can. And this is a timing push. It's going to connect for 1 and 2. Potatoes closing it down. Triple K in the round for him, 6-1, and that's a really good set of rounds from ER.
That is very nicely played from a CT side round. There was a contact push, got that 1-for-1 trade as you mentioned earlier on. HoldThis is kind of the thorn in the side, more or less, of the A side hold, playing quite a lot of room within apartments. Cody changes position, gets into a good placement, takes out that thorn in the side, and then all of a sudden it only leaves 1 option for HoldThisWood. They have to push into B side, and your man's there waiting. You know what I mean? It's nice to see. Nice to see that kind of come through into fruition. Speaking of fruition, Cody and Nope. It's just destiny for most players, to be completely honest with you, to die to that man, because he just seems to be popping. I mean, we watched this the other day, and I know you mentioned they're the win condition right now. You know.
Yeah, he really is.
But he has been doing quite a lot of work with that AWP.
Yeah, I don't know if I finished my point with the win condition, but yeah, Cody G, if ER are going to show up well and win this game, Cody G really does need to turn up. It is going to be him looking at his teammates around the server, and Potatoes gets taken out. Tree with the trade, but he's knocked down low as well. The push is coming through from HoldThisWood, and they're connect onto Tree. Snake has mollied out of position, uses a smoke, but dancing on the edge of it, and he gets taken out. Lewis, the one to put things through, and he's been a top performer for this HoldThisWood side. Gets a 2K in this round, and that's won it for them pretty much. For all intents and purposes, just Zyrex now left to pick up the pieces.
Backs off from this, doesn't he? I mean, there's no need for him to really push it. They've got money, don't get me wrong. I mean, would you... I know the economy says that you go for it, but you're going to lose the round either way. Is there any point in really pushing for it? And only to get another frag, maybe?
Yeah, if he gets 2 or even 1 frag there, then that's
Yeah.
enough to put like 1 or 2 people back onto a Galil, and that can
true.
be, you know, that can make the difference in a round between a headshot that's a kill and a headshot where your CT player escapes. You know, it's the small things, but they can add up.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, you know, be too important for this round though, because there's 3 players just charging up banana, and they get a lot of space. This is a worrisome spot because there's 2 players holding from ER right now, but they're prompting and forcing a lot of respect. Stater has no respect over towards A, and that should be info passed along, but the rotation needs to come through because HoldThisWood, they're forcing their way through. They have a crowbar and they're going to use it. It's being put to use on the B side. Zyrex is just lying in wait, trying to stay alive. Flash from Potatoes, but oh, it's not good enough for a kill from Zyrex. Potatoes, though, he'll get 2. Zyrex gets 2 of his own. That's a stronghold. That was worrisome for a really long time, but they managed to recover things 7-2, and that's a clutch moment when you need it.
It's the answer back, isn't it? I mean, after that round loss, it's the kind of we're still here to stay. We're still here to play. You know, keep pushing into us. I mean, the aggressive B side push up banana doesn't seem to be working from Hold This.
Yeah.
You know, you can't help but think that they need to change things up. And obviously we're here for Esports Wales Jarl, but it is also kind of, it's frustrating to watch.
CS.
Yeah, it's frustrating to watch a side just continuously rinse and repeat the same thing, hoping for different outcomes. The definition of madness if you've played that game.
I knew exactly what you were saying.
I know, yeah. Why not? Throw it in. HoldThis, I'm almost positive. Ooh. Yeah. How Zyrex gets away with that, I don't know, to be completely honest with you. Stood in Molly, no damage laid onto him at all. Stater, however, on the other side of things, won't take any damage himself, but take down Cos. Nice Molly.
That's a nice reaction, Molly. Yeah, I was going to say that forces HoldThis off the mark, but it really just kind of buys a bit more space, a bit more breathing room. He gets to site and suddenly things can stabilize. It was, you know, potentially a 2 versus 3 on the A site, but now it's almost a 4 versus 3 as HoldThisWood creep their way up short. They're delaying their push, but it does seem like they're going to be pushing into their demise. We'll see how their entries look as the time ticks down. Cody can call banana clear, but, well, there's not much more of a rotation that you can get. That's it, the jig is up. Oh, HoldThisWood, they get 2 entries. Suddenly, it's fallen apart. Zyrex is close, but all of the entries that they needed to get, they get. And suddenly, ER is left reeling because Zyrex and Cody are trying to retake, and they're not even going to be able to get anything done. Cody left on his lonesome, and he gets taken out as well. What just happened? HoldThis with a 4K. That's insane.
Just about to mention, and it happened as I was about to mention it, there's a double-edged sword to what Yara are doing with giving so much space for them to push wrapping around into site there. Losing all that kind of that short control, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, yeah, it can pay off nicely if you've got players in good positions that can really, you know, kind of retort to the damage that's been laid out on you or the advances that have been laid out on you. But the minute you allow that, just that inch more than you should, is the minute you're going to get punished by a team. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happens to Esports Yara in that situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know what? I'm not going to bring up that point. We'll
No, if you want to.
No, I'll talk about what John was asking. My keyboard angle is actually perpendicular to the or parallel to the monitor. Sorry, so it's like perfectly straight, similar to a Liege, and I've changed to this recently because my typing speed is atrocious. So that's something that I've been trying to work on, and yeah, I'm trying to improve that, but. HoldThisWood, they're trying to improve their round score because they're initiating an A exec and it's delayed behind the nades, but they've got a lot of space, like you said, with some counter mollies, and that will be good for some damage. Even a kill onto Kaz as he goes flying across our screens, but there was a kill opener from HoldThisWood. Oh, Tree, though, he's been the difference maker so far. Dancing around the A side, takes out 2, and it's all left onto HoldThis. The man with the 4K in the previous round has to do 3 in this one. Repeating the 4K, sorry, 1 versus 3 clutch, though. Is walking up short, has a bit of space, but it doesn't expect Stater. And that will be the end of that round. 8-3, and it's starting to look a bit worrisome.
I love the adjustment from Tree there, by the way. Goes from being in a position where he's set, ready to use utility to hold off, to then pushing into a position where he's able to lay like awesome damage into HoldThisWood. Like that's exactly what you want from a reflex player like that. You know, it's that movement, that ability to be like, okay, I don't need to use utility here. I can actually push in, and I can do the damage from a rifle instead.
Yeah. Oh, Zyrex, he's going for everything, taking so much banana control, but he gets taken out through the smoke, and there's been another kill forfeited. That's Tree up at top mid, so things are getting worrisome. 3 versus 4 in favor of HoldThisWood. They might not have the ideal weaponry, but they have so much space to work with. Stata is trying to calm things down on A. Defensive smoke dropped, even a molly, so forcing out so much util. HoldThisWood have a lot of space to work with, and they have the aim to do it. They are going to start to push towards A, and Cody, that timing's not going to meet him, but he gets the kill anyway. Perhaps shouldn't be getting away with those, but it will be Potatoes to be the thorn in the side, be the venom in the veins, and it will be Cody to close things out. 2K for him. That's, again, you know, it got worrisome with the setup, but the players from ER were able to stabilize, and that's something that we wanted to see. It's something that we've not seen from this team for a while. You know, when they fall into this kind of deficit situation, they've kind of just been scrambling and trying to find any answers, but they actually get some in this one. You're not convinced?
Yeah, sorry, I'm still stuck in that mindset of like, there's only so many times you can really allow that to happen.
Yeah.
You know, when you're dropping down to 2 players. Oh, I was about to say, to let it get that close, and Cody let Cos get a bit closer than I think they wanted it to. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm in agreement with you in the sense that, you know, things are getting very, very close in these rounds, and they are able to clutch them back because of player abilities. But realistically speaking, and I'm going to use a word that you know I use more than I need to, is sustainability for me.
Yeah. I mean, sustainability is really the subject to matter here, because you can see, even though ER, they've gone on a huge winning streak. I've actually lost count. It's been a bit back and forth in the last few rounds, but they had a really big winning streak. But their money's not the healthiest, or not as healthy as it could be, because they're losing a lot of players in these rounds, and that's leaving things, you know, as we're saying, a bit closer than we'd like. It is 9-3, however. That is the reality that we live in. So ER happy with their standing so far. At least I imagine they are. But
I mean,
I
expect them to.
I kind of want them to go back to the drawing board with this double or top mid setup, because one flash will just clean out top mid. We are going to watch the petering out of round 13, coming to the end of the half now. It's just Zach, MP4, trying to stay alive, trying to get anything, but he gets nothing. Zyrex will close things out with a 4K, so getting a strong performance from this guy, and it seems like almost everyone from ER is showing up today.
Yeah, 6 rounds off pistol was, so they lost pistol and then took 6 rounds immediately off HoldThisWood, then went 6-2, then 7-3, and back and forth from there. So yeah, you know, they took 6 rounds on the bounce after a pistol round loss. That's good going, in fairness. And we've seen the reverse happen to Yard before, where they've won pistol and then lost 7-8 rounds in a row afterwards. So it's nice to see the flip side of it now, where we're watching that kind of like master plan come into fruition. You know, 10-3 is the scoreline. We're at the very cusp and edge of the end of the first half, and they've done really, really well on CT. I mean, winning these next 2 rounds are crucial to not have that honey badger scenario that we always refer back to. You know, 11-4 being a dangerous scenario. Like, winning these next 2 rounds, I'm not going to say they're crucial in the sense that they'll lose the map overall if they don't, but it's definitely going to make things a lot more relaxed and a bit more happier as far as T-side control is going to be.
Yeah, I think one thing that we really do need to talk about is winning the round after pistol. You know, that has been so instrumental. Winning that, it's important. Being able to win out the force by like war situation at the start of the half has been so instrumental in them farming up cash and then just being in this really favorable situation where they've just always seem to be on the upper hand in terms of firepower, and they're going to be putting that to good use, trying to hold down this A site. Cos and Zach, though, they've got 2 entries, and Zyrex gets taken out. 3 A defenders taken out. Suddenly, things get worrisome. An AWP and an AK retrieved for HoldThisWood, and they've stabilized. They've taken this A site. Tree and Potatoes trying to retake now, and these A site retakes have not been the strongest in the last few rounds, so especially considering the firepower disadvantage, I don't know if ER are going to be walking away with this one happy.
Yeah, don't think they would, at least anyway. It's almost cast as cursed, the fact that I mentioned that they're not must-win rounds, but they're more comfortable win rounds. And then a disastrous round like that happens, where HoldThisWood are able to really, construct quite a decent A push, and then they're able to get, like, incredibly important picks back-to-back.
Yeah.
10-4, though, is the scoreline into the final round of the first half. I mean, both sides can really... This is a crunch round again, in the sense of buys, because both have got plenty of cash to really throw at it.
Well, it is the last round of the half.
I was going to say, double up setup from Yar again, because they've had that 2 rounds in a row, and it hasn't really worked out, but they haven't gone for it, Jammer.
Yeah, I think the double up setup can lead to a bit of, not staleness, but a lack of dynamicism, because obviously you can't be hot on the swivel with a double up setup, but... We'll see how they succeed with this, and Cody's going to succeed with that shot. Really nice opener from him in middle. ER need to close things out now. Not going for some aggressive banana control, but HoldThisWood, they're keen to not really pressure that angle so much in this round. Interesting smoke for top banana flying through, and that should alert ER to some presence in B, but is selling the fake. Perfect setup. He's going to be the A site that's in the question. Tree uses a molly, but it's too late because Hathis is in front of it. The rest of HoldThisWood are swarming the A site. Tree and Estate are trying to lock things down, but this is going to be a tall task, especially because they're starting to wrap. Cody's only just got back in position. He needs to be ready for this. Misses pretty much all the players. They're starting to dance around the smoke on the arch, but it's not going to work out. A site is under pressure. Stater, the last alive, dancing in the smoke. The bomb goes down. He's still on the site. Things are going wrong because it's pandemonium. No one knows what's going on. Smokes are just causing so much trouble. Stater's being spammed down. He's just dancing around the A site even more. How is he still alive? What is going on?
I don't think he knew as well. He was just like, how am I? What's going on here? Like, is anyone going to pick me up here in a second or what? Yeah. I mean, where do you kind of digest that first half, or where do you start to digest that first half?
I think we can start with, obviously ER winning the round after pistol. It was instrumental in them building up that kind of farm of rounds, that 6-round streak. And then past that, it got a bit dicey once HoldThisWood kind of started adjusting and figuring out the play style of ER. It kind of got worrisome there, and it seemed like they did get found out at the end of the half.
Yeah, it did. 10-5 being the scoreline as well. I mean, mentioned it could be a bit more dangerous when you're in this sort of territory of 11-4. 10-5 is just that touch more dangerous, in fairness. We seem to be dropping players again, so I'm assuming that we're going to get a tech pause at the end of, or tech pause before they're ready. They might not even ready. I don't think there's a timeout on readies, if I'm not mistaken, for ESEA. I can't remember.
I have no idea.
You have no idea. I can't remember if there is or isn't. I used to be very knowledgeable about SEA rules, and a load got changed, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. Which, I mean, is more or less a standard conversation for you and I, isn't it, really, that I have no idea what I'm doing half the time? So you mentioned, and I'm going to ask you this question, because it's something I wrote down in my notepad while we were talking. Perpendicular, so like, you've changed from not being perpendicular to being perpendicular with the...
Yeah, I used to have it tilted. I don't know how to describe it. Like, have the escape key higher than the arrow keys, like more towards the monitor.
Yeah.
But now it's pretty much straight, like dead on with the desk and the monitor. So like, yeah, very similar to how Elish has it, and that's just because 30 degrees. I never understand the 30 degrees and whatever degrees, because I don't know what the reference point is. But yeah, it's just straight is the way I describe it. Before it was tilted, now it's straight.
I have always had mine at an angle, but it's not like, tilted to that extreme. It's just like slightly...
Yeah, it's not like Tarek's.
Yeah, it's like 5 degrees. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that maximum. Okay. It's very, very minuscule amount of space. Or amount of tilt either way, and that's purely because I always sit like to the side of my desk, if that makes sense. I don't sit dead center or to the left or right. To the left. I sit on the right hand side of it, so I'm kind of like facing my main monitor as opposed to facing my right hand in the middle between my main and my right hand monitor. And I don't know
Okay.
why, but I've always sat that way. And as a result, my keyboard has always been like tilted in that kind of direction as a result. But I always remember a really weird conversation. This is the reason why I fetched it up in the first place. I was playing World of Warcraft with a guild, going back
Okay.
like the conversation starts with that, and usually Java switches off. So I'm talking to you now, chat. Playing World of Warcraft with the guild, and they asked me, which way is your keyboard, and I was like, oh, I have mine like tilted like 20 degrees, something like that. I think I said to them, or like just off to the 20 degrees angle. They were like, no, do you have it in English or do you have it in a different language? Is what they were meaning in game. And they just couldn't understand what I was on about, and I had to explain to them how FPS players play, and yeah, it was a terrible conversation. Speaking of terrible conversations, mine being one of them. Swing us into this round, Jammer. I mean, bit of utility purchase from Yar. We had 2 flashes and the smoke in the hand of Zyrex. One of those flashes now gone. This is different to what we've seen from them in the past on pistol rounds on T side of any map, being very slow, methodical.
Yeah, it's patient play from both of these sides. It seems like HoldThisWood are going for a B stack though, and there's a player lurking. That's Kaz. He's going to hide in church, so even if both these B site defenders fall, he's just going to be lying in wait to come into great effect. But Brucey, he's staying alive. There we go. Kaz comes into action, gets 2, maybe even a third, but Potatoes is trying to dance around because he's been shot from 2 opposite angles, and that's just not a recipe for success. Lewis can come in for the cleanup, and that's an opening pistol for HoldThisWood. But as we saw in the first half, ER might go for a force. I wouldn't say
Yeah,
it's advisable because they didn't get a plant, but
you don't have the cash for it, in fairness, and that's why. Yeah, I was gonna say we're only really gonna see a pistol purchase. Tech 9 is what actually gets purchased. Everything else stays without spending a single penny. It's one of those sort of moments of like, if they got bomb plant, then yeah, I'd back it as well with you. No bomb plant, I back the decision not to do it, but I also back the decision to buy down to 2k.
yes.
Oh wow. Oh well, that was a meat grinder, but 2 weapons picked up and recover. That's 2 MP9s I can put into play. One will not, the second one either... Sorry, first one. The second one will.
Okay.
Um,
So I'll
yeah.
break that one down. The problem with
Yeah,
having any CTs in halls like that against a full eco is it becomes a choke point. You don't have
yeah.
enough space to win out and use your guns effectively against pistols at that range. You're almost maximizing their playstyle because they will be dynamic jumping around, and that at that range the Glocks can do incredible damage with headshots.
Yeah.
Again, obviously you're going to be doing more damage with SMGs, but you don't have the fire rate and the bullets in the mag to be able to just spray down 5 players in that kind of proximity. So that's kind of one for you guys at home to pick up and not to use, a perfect example of what not to do, but it ends up not costing them too much. They do lose a decent amount of players. I think it was 3 or 2 players in the end. 3 players, actually. But yeah, not the worst situation that could have happened. Hathis, though, showing you how you can use it effectively when it's being put to use in an unorthodox spot against another rifle where you do have a fire rate advantage. But top middle has some pressure, and with the opening kill, HoldThisWood should be content to forfeit it, but Zach outstays his welcome. He's going to go down, and Brucey is going for something so extra, but Potatoes isn't expecting it. He gets taken out. There's a smoke to hold things off, and that will hold the line for the time being. 3 versus 4 now. HoldThisWood, they're starting to claw things back.
Yeah, they really are. This is a lot of dangerous territory for Esports. Yeah, if they lose control in the next... Well, if they lose control in this round, which they seem to have already done so, this could spell disaster more or less for that round difference, getting tied up more and more. But Zyrex is on a mad run at the minute, and he's trying to secure as many frags as they can. They've got 1 more to clear inside sight. Or 2 to clear, I should say, inside sight now. Oh, first. That's such a perfect kill. I was going to say a banger of a kill, but you know what I mean. It's just Brucey left, mate.
You're a professional, mate.
I was trying to be professional.
Well, Zyrex will close out with the 4th, in fact, and not many people will probably remember this, but last season Zyrex was one of the star players. He was fragging out of his mind, and he was one of the guys that we kind of looked at and said, look, this is a bright star from the Welsh scene. Like, this guy can frag, he can, be a really good teammate. His nades were on point, but since he's taken up the eye-gelling mantle, he's kind of quietened it down quite a lot. And I think it's nice to see a bit of a revival in this game because Inferno is one of those maps I feel that is more of like a homestay map where you can just kind of rely on your teammates to do what they do around the map, and you don't have to micromanage or like keep track of what they're doing so much, or as much as other maps, say Vertigo, that we've seen quite a lot from this squad. So yeah, it's nice from him. Lewis, though, this is such a a weird spot. Might get the smoke advantage, but not going to work out for him today. He gets taken out, and this is a 3 versus 5.
Oh. Peaked that completely dry, caught Tree off guard. Stato is there though, and he's able to lock in the frag, but that's a decent trade. I corrected myself just in time. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, no.
Well, he's not going to correct his nade lineup, and that won't be causing them too much of an issue because it is just Kaz now. He's made his way out of long. Zyrex will spot him, but not before he takes Cody G out of the server. 12-7 is the scoreline, though, and that's more of a what we were expecting, should we say?
Yeah. Also, the good news is that part of me messing his name up and then correcting myself won't get clipped because of the nade immediately afterwards, the flash, unless they're super quick at cutting. 12-7 the scoreline though, Jammer. 5-round lead now in favour of Esports Wales Yar. A little bit of a difficult or a bit of turmoil to begin with, but seems to be back on the up. As long as you're able to secure these easy eco round frags. Zyrex will pick up 2, but he'll drop after Hathurst lays the final blow to him with a deagle.
Well, A-Site has been gifted over. Cody, that's not what you want to be doing. He's lucky to escape with his life. Hathurst's not ready, but those are really the kind of situations where the game sense needs to be on point. You need to be prepared and ready for what can come at your way. Cody is prepared for that one, however, and Lewis just going to hold the Galil. Or at least he should be, because he has no armor and no kit.
Yeah, you don't push this. 2,000 in the bank. Teammates aren't really healthy as far as finances are concerned. Pushing for an exit's completely fine, but I think that's a bit too close of a position to really be sitting. Am I right? I mean,
it's one of those plays that perhaps is fine to get away with at the open stage when you're coming up against teams that are mixed, but when you get to the upper echelons of CS, you can't be forfeiting opportunities like that away to teams that will just straight up punish you. You know, it might be a 1 versus 3, a dude no armor and Galil, but if you've got a player that can frag and will just hit those shots 50-50 game game battles, then it's a worrisome spot because that can fall apart in a matter of seconds. It's not going to be the case. We're not going to, chastise Cody too much for it in this case, but it's kind of one to look for in the future, especially, if you're keeping up to date with these teams. If they can't cut things like that out of their gameplay, then they might struggle to progress forward as they move on in the competition. But it is going to be a gun round. It is going to be a kind of weird situation for HoldThisWood because it's 1 minute 10. They've got their AWPer taken out of the server and they have almost no util to work with. This is so bizarre. Well, Lewis and Zach show you don't need util. You only need bullets, and they're going to connect them into the ER players. Just Potatoes and Stater now. 2 players that we've been mispronouncing. Alive and kicking. They're going to try and force off some space on the B site. Stater's going for something extra, not getting anything. Stater can't even get the bomb down now. Trying to scramble in position. Trying to stay alive. Resmokes the middle of site. And that'll be the end of him. Lewis will take him out, 8-13.
Yeah, I was confused by that smoke, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I think it was more of a panic throw.
Yeah, maybe a misclick.
Yeah, maybe, oh my god, there's an AWP there, and there's about 3 other people behind him. I need to smoke myself here, give myself a bit of breathing room and figure out what's going to happen next. But yeah, it's not effective, unfortunately, and he will fall in the end. It puts Esports Wales Yar in this kind of decent buy for 4 of the players and a hybrid for Tree. Tree's going to be the advanced man with that Mac 10. Not advanced enough, unfortunately, and Tree will fall. Same for Potatoes immediately after.
Yeah, the tough spot there is ER can't punish with nades. And HoldThisWood, they just get away with everything. Oh, even creep around the edge of the smoke. Cody's not expecting it. Hathis gets one. Zyos can't sit back, but it's just trading out in Banana, and HoldThisWood are coming out on top. Even Brucey to close things out with the AWP. I think that's the first AWP kill we've seen from him. Might be wrong on that, but I'm going to go out on a limb and claim that. But yeah, I think ER, if they have, spare nades or surplus nades to be able to punish something like that, then HoldThisWood don't get away with it. But because it's a quasi buy for both of these sides, they just take it and run with it because it's an off angle for not a literal off angle, but an off angle of a play, should we say?
Yeah. I think that is the first kill that we've seen from Brucey as well. He's picked up the AWP a few times from their players, but never actually put it into effective use. Up until now, of course. Oh my days.
Nade, it's done so much damage. I think close to 200 damage across all the players. ER, they're left reeling and limping. They might even hear that nade come through, but it doesn't matter because the bullets are coming through from Lewis. On for the ace. He's taken down all 4 players, running through, spamming through the smoke, and he will get the ace, in fact. 10 HP left, so not comfortably, but you know what? He'll be happy to pick that one up. 10 to 13, and HoldThisWood starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah, this is 2 aces in 1 game as well, which is even nicer for us at least. This is more what we were kind of what I was mentioning earlier on. As much as I want Yar to win, and as a Welsh bloke, I can't deny it. Like, I am going to be biased to them because, well, yeah, I'm Welsh. I want to see good CS. Do you mean that's what you and I love to watch is good Counter-Strike. To see HoldThisWood kind of bounce back a little bit into this game, it is nice, but it is also kind of like not nice then looking at it from your perspective because it's bouncing back against them.
Oh no. HoldThisWood, they're starting to get some confidence, and they've got 2 picks over towards top, middle. Their players are staying in apps, and that has meant that Cody escaped around to long, but they know exactly where he's gone to, and he's been taken out of the server. That's confidence coming into play. I talk about it a lot with a lot of different teams, but HoldThisWood, when they build up that head of confidence on any confident CT side, is a really tough task because they will just meet you for those one-on-one engagements, and if they're feeling it, they're going to make it work. They make it work right there, even when it perhaps shouldn't have, but now they're left reeling because they've been in this kind of situation before, and they need to come up with some adjustment or some answer.
Yeah, they need to come up with the goods. And they're running out of room to really maneuver to get those sort of goods. And the closer that HoldThisWood can kind of ebb away at that lead difference, I feel like the more panicked we're going to see Yar play, and the more mistakes that we're going to see Yar come out with. Which is disappointing then, of course, because it's it's a harsh way of putting it, but it's more the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
I thought it was a 007, but it's not. Never mind. We're not gonna acknowledge it anyway.
No, it's because he dropped from the server.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, since coming back though,
yeah,
Potatoes has been having a bit of trouble fragging out, and that's
Tech
a worrying
issue?
prospect because perhaps, but even if it is tech issues, having a player that is struggling, be it individually, skill-wise, or through technology, it's just not an ideal spot to be in, and it might be forfeiting this kind of comeback that we're seeing from HoldThisWood. Oh, Brucey not able to connect anything with the AWP again, but they at least go for something more aggressive, and that's a new flavor to this CT side that we've not quite seen. Oh, Hathis gets taken out. Oh, that's the B site falling. The nade doesn't do anything, and suddenly things get a bit worrisome. There's a prospect. VR, there's a case to be made for them to take this round. Cody goes for something a bit too much, a bit too aggressive, loses the AK, but the smoke isn't even going to be respected. So, yeah, that's just one of those plays that you don't want to do. Now, 3 versus 3, 3 versus 2, in fact, as Tree makes me readdress myself. Zach and Brucey waiting to retake from the CT area, but doesn't seem like gonna have too much success. And just as a good coach would say, when you lose church control like this, when Tree is pushed up aggressive like this, and taking that control away from you, the B site is impossible to retake. You need that church control, at least, at least know that it's clear to be able to go for a retake. And so you can see it might have been a pissed around, it might have been a lower econ situation, but you pick it up nonetheless.
I've heard this quoted before, and I can't remember who said it. It was on the main broadcast, if you're retaking B site, and you mentioned about church, unless you got a foot in the door, there is no way of retaking like effectively without using too much utility, using too many numbers. You need to have that little bit of extra foot in the door, literally in this case, for you to really take full advantage of it and make the most out of it. And I can't remember who put it probably more eloquently than I just did, but that is essentially what they were getting at, you know, without having that little bit of extra step. But 14 on the board though for Yar. 2 rounds left to grab up to secure a W on this map.
2 rounds indeed. They're going to be aggressing towards A. There are 3 players here to greet them, and HoldThisWood should know that it's going to be an A play because they're setting up for this banana peak. That's a nice flash, and they will be able to call that over. They should be able to get some rotations in place, but yeah, they're already up on short. They're already aggressing towards the A site, and the rotation might not get there in time. Yeah, though, they're fairly slow and static in their take right now, and this is worrisome. Tree's been boosted up. They try and get him an entry, but he gets taken out, and all the info's been given over. It's been gifted. Yeah, they need to make a decision here. They have gone silent, and that's meant that Kaz has rotated back, so at least something to come into their fortunes. But now they need to hit their shots. They need to push towards the site. 40 seconds is going to be when the exec is initiated. Short push coming through. There's 1 player on the site, and they get some of the entries, all of the entries, in fact. Zyrex and Potatoes now left to hold things off. 2 versus 2. Hathus and Kaz in for the retake, and this is a doable spot.
That's so big, those entries, man.
The retake nades fly over, Potatoes dinked, and he's going to be taken out. Nades will fly through. It's all going to be onto Zyrex, the IGL, former star player, and he gets taken out as well. That's unfortunate, but it means HoldThisWood move to 12 rounds, and that's not an ideal spot to be in because the economy is it's going to be okay for the next round, but moving forward, it's going to start to look worrisome. And on the other side of things, HoldThisWood, they've started to farm up a decent amount of cash.
You start to get into like the snowball territory, right? Where like, okay, I've got enough money to buy into this one. There's not going to be a widespread of utility across all my players. There's going to be enough for me to make entries. I'm not going to be, going in dry. Peeking into site dry, for example. But at the same time, I know that this is like a must-win. I was going to say a must-win round.
What is that entry?
I don't get it.
Man, I think they're getting too comfortable. They're not checking their corners for the metaphoric example. They're not prepared for these aggressions from HoldThisWood, and it's gifted HoldThisWood a 5 versus 4. They can completely change their setup now, and this is a worrisome spot because I've talked about them being a bit static. They're not even prepared for the aggressions that's coming through right now. So if they're not prepared, then they're not going to be bringing a winning formula to this matchup. I'm losing my words, Nick. Take over for a bit, please.
You made me laugh. I can't speak. The winning formula, as Jammer put it nicely, is here to stay. Cody make a good entry into Brucey. Looks like they're trying to wrap themselves around the B site. I mean, the bottom is obviously in that direction, but they've missed a player, and it's cars they've missed, and Cos clears his house with 2 big hills to grab in that scenario. It's left a Tree and Potatoes to do something with this. Potatoes is going to drop, and it's left a Tree in the zone of 1v4, and he's got bomb control, but he doesn't really have any sort of map control, which is why you see Lewis pushing all the way down back in towards T-spawn hunting, because he's just got room to move it with it.
Man, I applaud ER for going something a bit different, a bit unorthodox, but they really need to be covering their bases. That's exactly the kind of thing that forfeited that 5 versus 4 in the first place. Not being prepared, not being ready for what this HoldThisWood side can throw at them. And sure, Tree can get some consolation frags, and they will be important because it means that they can't bring AKs into the next round on CT side. But at the end of the day, it's not going to bring a round win, and we're on the cusp of HoldThisWood evening things up, but running away with the match.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, again, this is the snowball scenario that I was referencing a few moments ago. You allow that little bit of extra space, that little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say room for maneuver as such, but you allow that little bit of extra or a little bit of like drop in awareness is probably the better way of putting it from your perspective.
Yeah,
And
losing
teams
concentration maybe.
yeah, losing concentration, that little bit of less awareness, that little bit of, maybe not being as locked in as you were in the earlier half, and teams in the open will run away with it like that, and you start to get on this massive deficit run of rounds where, they're still one round in advance, they still got one round lead, but realistically speaking, we're talking about a game that should have been done and dusted after the first half had finished, 10-5 at that point.
Well, yeah, they stumble on their way to progress to a 15th round. Cody G, he's making a lot of noise in A, and that's going to hold the rotations. Picks up a rifle. He can run back over towards B, but he's going to stay around and wait for any counter aggressions. The B exec, though, is going to be put through. Cody just about gets away. Brucey won't spot him. Cos, though, and his teammate Hathers will be trying to hold down this B side. Tree gets taken down, and suddenly it's just potatoes. I don't know how it happened, but it all fell apart. The crossfire is too strong, and doesn't seem like ER are able to stand the test of time against these CT setups.
It's not got bomb control. It's dropped in the open as well. I think it's dropped just the other side of
It's in the fountain, so I don't think HoldThisWood will be aware. Doesn't seem like Potatoes is aware. He will finally pick it up.
Yeah.
Initiates the plan. A 1 versus 3. They know roughly where he is. They will start to circle. The shark smell the blood in the water. It gets the bomb, so that's something, but, well, that's all he gets, in fact.
It's money, in the bank. I think he had dropped an AK to someone as well at the start of this round, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, no, he'd recovered the AK, but what am I trying to get at you? Let me rephrase and start my words once again. It's money in the bank as far as bomb plant's concerned. That'll be a good sign, to kind of help things out into this round. This is a must-win round because without this one, we're edging now towards HoldThis running away with it. They've got good economy built up. They've got a good sense of how to really play against Yar on T side. They have to really punish HoldThisWood in this round.
Well, 14-14. Whoever wins this next round will be locking in a not loss. I don't know a better way to say that, but guarantee the draw, should we say, or overtime.
Overtime, yeah.
But yeah, it's an imperative round to win, a crucial round. And it seems like HoldThisWood have the momentum so far. ER need to come up with a solution right here, right now. They've been good so far, but they've only got 4 rounds on their T side, and that's not going to be good enough to lock in any sort of game-winning situation. Cyrex lurking over towards B, and it's a fairly orthodox setup from HoldThisWood, so they're prepared for pretty much anything that YAR can throw at them, and it's exactly the kind of change in pace that's been problematic for YAR, because this HoldThisWood side have been very aggressive so far. Lewis takes down Cody G, the counter AWP, although Cody doesn't have an AWP in his hands, and now YAR left wondering what to do, what they can do to counter this HoldThisWood CT setup. They're going to start throwing nades over towards A, and that should start to ring some alarm bells. HoldThisWood are going to use some counter util towards B, but they should probably start rotating soon because the awareness from this HoldThisWood side has called the rotations through, and the trades are coming out, but it seems to be good for HoldThisWood so far. A site on the verge of being lost, but Lewis still has a line of sight, and that's a nice smoke. Stata able to gain access to the site. Tree with low health, but he's alive and kicking, and the bomb gets planted just in time. 2 versus 3 retake. This is it. Whoever gets 15, I would hesitantly say will win this game, unless it goes overtime. The retake starting to come through now. 2 players walking up short. Lewis is still holding from long, and he spots Tree in the apps. All on Stata now. He's a coach, he's a manager, he needs to do it all. 1 versus 3, dancing around the site like before, but gets 1 or unable to get anything more, and that's going to be it. HoldThisWood lock in 15, and that's such an unfortunate spot. ER, they played so well so far, but this is not the situation that you want to be finding yourself in, and now they're trying to fight for overtime.
Got money to buy into this round. Dig deep in it. Is the quote of the day, Jammer, on this one? We'll have to dig as deep as possible. I literally just dropped my blinking can. It's fine. It's okay. It's not gone everywhere. It's just splashed up my leg, so that's fine. I'll fix that in a minute. Anyway, pushing swiftly forward, Jammer, before I drowned in Pepsi Max. Yeah, this is the kind of round that you go, right, all or nothing, have to win it, of course, because of the round type that we're at. Dig deep, let's push this to OT, let's try and do as much as we possibly can to lay the hurt on to HoldThisWood. They haven't been able to answer the CT side for quite some time. You know, and I think it's, again, that lack of concentration, as I mentioned earlier on, you know, where they're getting caught out in sort of ridiculous moments. That's having the bigger sort of impact as time ticks forward. Flash, but going to peek off the back of it from HoldThisWood.
Yeah.
We'll start to ramp up as far as fiery aggression on Inferno is concerned.
The exec comes through. Molly hooks him off for the time being, but the push from Cars takes out 2, and that's a return on investment that you'd like to have on the CT side. There are the rotations coming through, but it's going to be 3 versus 3 in the post plant, as the bomb should get planted shortly. Tree knocked down low, though, and this is a weird situation to be in. ER fighting for overtime. They're all going to be set up around the back of the site, and there are nades to shut this out. Lewis going to be the head of the spear, trying to retake. And this is such an odd setup. Oh my, pot potatoes has been taken out. Util sends him to his grave. Tree taken out as well, and it's all on Stata again. Tried to stay alive on A, tried to stay alive on B, and he can't do anything. 16-14 to HoldThisWood. ER unable to do it again. This is the second game in a row where ER have lost 16-14, and it really hurts the soul. Both of these games, ER, they played so well, but they just couldn't come up with the answers for the longest time. And I think it's, you know, maybe a mental thing at this point, because it seems to be when these players are getting to that 14th round and then they start to lose a couple of rounds, it really does hammer on their confidence and their, you know, play style in the game, because it just changes things up. And it seems like something needs to change, or something needs to be different for them to be able to pull things across the line in future games.
Yeah, it's going to have a long-term impact at some point. And I mean, you know, it is sad to see it end in that way. You know, especially after the way that CT side run happened. You know, that's what I wrote it down as like 6 rounds after pistol loss, winning back to back, constant like aggression and push, and you know, all that power essentially they held over HoldThisWood, and then it all kind of started to crumble a little bit as they switched into T side, and yeah, that's the end outcome. I hope we see a win soon, of course, soon enough, I should say. We do have a game coming up on the 16th of November, according to my notes, which is Tuesday. That one hasn't yet been decided what map and also what time. That will probably get announced at some point on the Twitter pages for both Esports Wales, as well as just the Esports Wales Twitter page. Jammer, before we sign things out, where can they find us?
I believe they can find us on Twitter. You can find my handle at Jammer_CS, and Nick is, of course, ReaperSteve1. So, yeah, keep up to date with us. But also keep to, let me fumble my words, keep up to date with Esports Wales, because they're a fantastic organization, and you can do that at Esports Wales on Twitter as well. So, keep up to date with everything that's going on. Hopefully you guys can come back and watch us cast another game, and hopefully you can see ER get over their hurdle, the mental hurdle of getting a 15th round on the board. But yeah, we'll see you next time.
Definitely. And as a closing quote from me, Rustcoat Talon knife is the best knife in game. Anyway, I'm not even going to let you answer that one back. I'm literally just going to transition this to an end screen. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll be back next week on Tuesday, if it's still going to be Tuesday. If not, like I said before, and like Jammer said, keep up to date on Twitter. You'll see when we're going to be going live and what we're going to be covering. Peace, good night, and have an enjoyable weekend.